La Lover Girl. So, gonna have an interesting discussion. We're also gonna do a giveaway, and also I will be live once again at 1 p.m. with Roger Spur, which is in 2 hours from now. And the link I've already posted here live. The link I've already posted here on Facebook on a post. I mean Facebook on YouTube. Right here on a post earlier, I posted the link to the chat. So if people want to join today's live Q&A, that will be at 1 p.m. and Roger Spur will be there. And I already posted the Zoom link here on YouTube. If you're on my Patreon, it's also on there. And if you're on Mud Fossil University here on YouTube, Roger also posted it on his YouTube channel. And we've done it for the last 3 days. Yesterday we had a little bit of a technical difficulty on Roger's end, and then my end started getting lagging. But Roger said he got his mic volume and everything adjusted, so hopefully the technical difficulties are all worked out and we won't have any quirks today. The first day went off good. The first day went fine. For those on my Patreon and members here on YouTube, I will have the replay of our last few sessions, and also of today's and the future ones for members only. Now today I'm going to be discussing something very interesting. We're also going to be doing a giveaway. The first 3 people who want to make purchases on my website, they will receive a tensor tool. I have three that I want to give away. So I'm also, anybody who does make a purchase, they also get something for free with each purchase. So you'll be getting basically a few things for free, because I give crystals and stones away with each purchase that's normally made. Plus you'll be getting a tensor tool as well. So I think we got 2 ankhs I'm giving away, and 1 tensor ring. And these all can be worn as necklaces as well. So today I'm going to be talking about a very interesting topic, something that I haven't talked about in a long time. When I first started getting interviewed on radio shows back in like 2013, 14, 15, the first time I started going on radio, it was because of these experiences that I have been reported. There's been a few other people that have interviewed me, that they've been in books. Even Nick Redfern had interviewed me back way before I ever did radio, like in 2010, about some of my experiences in California. So basically, not to get into my whole life story, but by the mid to late 90s, I was in bands. I'm a musician. That's really my true passion, is my art and my creativity. I'm actually a songwriter, and I come up with things very fast. I could play guitar, and I could do vocals, play bass, things like that. And the reason why I haven't really pursued that as a profession is because of this experience and some of the experiences I've had. But now that I'm in my, mid 40s almost, I think it's time for me to actually pursue my music again. And there's been a lot of people out there that have been influenced by my ideas and my information. So it's time for me to actually put it out there and to work myself with certain things. And I don't mind if people want to collaborate as well. I'm down with that. But it's time for me to actually take advantage of my music and my abilities. I put it on the shelf for many years because of what I experienced. And by the mid to late 90s, me and my group of friends were really sort of involved with a lot of the music scene here in New York, and the drug scene and the club scene and all of that. And by the late 90s, I had already started losing a lot of friends and things like that. So I wanted like a change of scenery at that time, and I kind of wanted to get out of New York. So in like 2000, the year 2000, some of my band member and one of my best friends passed away, and he was like one of like 10 that died in a short period of time, literally. And I graduated high school in 1996, and by the late 90s, things, there was a lot of friends that I had lost, and I kind of wanted to change my life. And in like 2000 and 2001, I totally started to change, and I had gotten in trouble, like just bullshit trouble over here, and I wanted to change the scenery after the trouble was over, right? After I got out of trouble. And so I had gone to Phoenix in 2001 and stayed there for a little while, and then came back to New York. And then that winter came, going into 2002, and I literally, because I was starting to get involved like with my old friends again, getting back into the same routine, all that, right? So I literally like just was like, I felt like the wind was just calling me to just get up and go, just grab my guitar and just not have the comfort of my mom anymore, being at my mom's house, not have the comfort of, maybe my parents rescuing me when I get in trouble, or any of that. Like, I didn't want to have, like, and I had gone through a lot. I had gone to group homes and things like that when I was younger, because I was a really smart kid. I got really good grades, but I also got into a lot of mischief. So, like, I just decided, I told my parents I was basically going to like 7-Eleven, and I went to the Port Authority in New York and went all the way to California on a bus. It took like 3 nights and 4 days. And I knew one person out there who was going to Cal State in Long Beach. So I took a bus to like 16th and Long Beach, California. I went as far, I needed a boat to go any further. I went across the whole country with, and all I had was my acoustic guitar and my book bag. No clothes really with me, nothing. Literally like $50 in my pocket after I got off the bus. And the girl that I knew that was going to Cal State in Long Beach, I hung at her house like for 3 days, and then she was like, "You can't live here. Like, that's cool that you visited, but like, you got to go." So then I was just out there, right? So I literally was playing my guitar to make money on the street to live. And I was playing, sometimes making over $100 a day. I made a whole group of friends, people in the parks. I was getting into fights out there, defending myself, this, that. It was rough for a while until I eventually found a place to live with other people. We had our own little apartment, a whole thing going on, right? But I went through a lot of intense experiences. And you guys could see some of my songs here on YouTube and Ra's Song Vault in my my playlist or whatever it's called. And I'm going to post some more too eventually. And I want to actually start making studio work, because I did studio work about 15-20 years ago, and I have some of those songs that I play for you guys on my Truth Frequency radio show. But I want to, I need to make some new recorded, because the only stuff I have on YouTube right now really of me is playing on acoustic. Friggin' mosquitoes are crazy. They love my friggin' Mediterranean Italian blood, I think. I don't know what it is, but I'm a magnet for mosquitoes. But yeah, so my music basically on YouTube is just acoustic. Me playing acoustic and rocking out and just like freestyling and stuff like that. I learned how to do that playing as a street musician, basically on the streets of Long Beach for 2 years. It's basically how I made my money, and how I fed myself and took care of myself for all that time. So there's like a whole bunch, and the people that know my story, they know how I already was born with hypersensitivity, and I had some near-death experiences and things like that. So they already know certain things about me, but I had some really mystical experiences living in Long Beach in that area. And one of them, the only way I can describe it is I literally met some sort of, maybe even like disembodied Rephaim spirit or some sort of devil type jinn type being who literally offers you a contract, literally offers you a deal. And if you say yes, they're promising you anything you've ever wanted. Your music will be famous. You could come work for him and he'll publish your music and his club and all of this. This is what happened to me. So I wanted to explain this to you all for people to hear, because it's not something I shared in a long time. And it's really important for all creative people out there. Especially, I had a lot of death around me. Right? It's the whole reason why I left and went to California. And when I was in 1988, a family that lived next door to us was the mother went crazy and slaughtered the whole family. It was a whole deal. She saw the Virgin Mary and she went crazy. Right? And that affected me. I was close to those kids. They were always around me. And there's a lot of things that surrounded me where, I got sort of connected to the spirit world in a crazy way. And the whole reason why I went to California is because there was a lot of death around me. Right? My friends were dying. All this stuff was going on. And I saw some dark stuff in some clubs and different things. Like, I wanted to get out of there. And then when I went to California, I ended up sort of like a flower in the sewer. Like, while I was on the street, it wasn't about getting high or doing or any of this. It was about surviving and like I literally was helping other people. Like I had this like vibe about me, like that we had to take care of each other, and the people I would meet I would influence. Right? I was almost like a preacher with my guitar walking around, and I made a whole group of friends, and I helped a lot of them get their shit together, their life together, by being with them and talking to them. And it wasn't about what I was about in New York. It was about like a rebirth, right? And there was forces that were attracted to me in all sorts of ways. And the experience that I'm talking about, first I gotta mention that there was always this one homeless guy that used to stand in front of the Burger King that's across on Long Beach Boulevard. There was a Burger King right there across the street from Lincoln Park. There's a Lincoln Park there where the library is. And across the street there was a Burger King. There was always this gruffy looking homeless man that would be looking for cans. And I would sometimes ask him if he needed anything, like, yo, you want a cigarette? You need a burger? You need something, brother? And he would just grunt at me, like, "Rrr," wouldn't even talk. Never heard him speak a word. He would just grunt at me. And what's up to everybody in the chat room? I'll get to you guys in a moment. He would just grunt at me, right? Always wearing the same clothes, dirty as shit, right? And always with a gruffy beard, right? But I knew him well. I saw him every day. I knew what his face looked like. I knew him, right? So one night, and I was at this stage for a couple of days. I was like in a funk. I was missing my mom, missing my family. My brother and sister both had little kids at the time, and I was kind of missing things. Like, baby showers and this and that. I was just missing life, right? So I was kind of like missing my family. And for a couple of days, I was feeling like I shouldn't be out there anymore, right? And then the previous night to this happened, I had an experience where I was like feeling depressed, and it was like around a little after midnight. And I used to hang out at this store that I would play my guitar in front of during the day, and they would let me do it. And I would actually work for them sometimes in the store. They were like sort of like a Hot Topic kind of store, like, but it was run by this goth band in Long Beach called Heavenly Trip to Hell, but the store was called No Regrets. And at one time they had a couple of stores in Long Beach, but I used to chill at the store on Pine Avenue in Long Beach. This is like in 2002, 2003, those years. And I was walking back to where I lived on 4th and Cedar from 5th and Pine through the alleyways. And I walked into one of the alleyways, and I was kind of depressed, and all of a sudden I smelled my grandmother's perfume. And this is my grandmother who's been dead for many years. And I smelt it all over me. All over me. My grandmother had a certain perfume, almost like an old lady's perfume, and it saturated me. It was in my hair, my clothes. It was all over me, like just saturated me. And I even said, Nani? Nani? I even said like her name out in the alleyway, and I felt the warmth around me, right? And then right after that, in that same alleyway, it was almost like a heavenly glow came down, and was a book was literally sitting on somebody's garbage can in the alleyway on top of the garbage can. And I picked the book up. It said Harmonics of Evolution. It's a book from the 1800s that I still have. And on the binding it said Ra, right? Really intense. So the next previous night I was still kind of feeling like in a funk, and around the same time I was leaving the No Regrets area from Pine Avenue, and I was walking into the alleyway, but instead of walking into the alleyway, I decided to go back out to the main road near Pine Avenue on the side of Pine and try to get money for breakfast. Like, I was like, I'm going to play a few songs out there. There was a lot of people still out walking around, and I decided to go play my guitar and sing. So I'm playing my guitar and singing, not even 5-10 minutes. Right, and I was writing a new song, like I was freestyling, and I was feeling it. I was like really getting into it, and I was jamming, and nobody was around really. There was a few people that walked past me, but basically I was just singing by myself there. It was kind of late at night, and I usually don't play that late at night. You're really not supposed to, at all. You'll get in trouble. The cops will mess with you. You got to run away or get in trouble. So I usually just played during the day, but something told me to play at night. I just wanted to write music, and I was like, maybe I'll see some people and make a few dollars for breakfast too. So I was playing not a few minutes, right? And then all of a sudden, basically like simultaneously, I smelt like a cigar or like an old pipe, right? Like almost a sweet smell. It's not almost like a pleasant smell, like a pipe. At the same time as me having that little scent that hit my nose, I saw that somebody was standing in front of me. I could see their shoes right in front of me and their legs. They were wearing like a suit, dress shoes. And I hadn't looked up to see their chest or their face yet, because I was like looking down at my lap playing guitar, sort of like looking at my hands. And when you're sitting there and with your legs folded in front of you with your guitar in your lap, I was kind of looking down, and I noticed at the same time as smelling something, I caught a whiff of the smoke, that there was somebody standing in front of me, and I never heard them walking up. I was like, what? I just figured I was jamming out in the zone, and I didn't hear them walk up. All right, so they were pretty close to me, like 2 feet in front of me, pretty damn close, standing right in front of me. I could see their shoes and their legs, and it's like a suit, a nice suit, right? So I continued to play. I figured I was about to make money. Like, the guy was about to give me, like, he must have heard me playing. He walked up, he's wearing a nice suit. He's about to pay me. So I continued to play, and I was still looking down. I never had looked up to see this guy's face yet. Right, or I hadn't even seen his chest area yet. I basically just saw his legs and his shoes. So I was singing and playing, and then I stopped singing, and I was just playing guitar, like playing some chords and a riff. And after I stopped singing and I'm still playing guitar, I still hadn't looked up at his face yet. He starts talking, and as soon as he started talking, he was talking very, very calm, a little gruffy. And like a kind of smooth talk, right? He's like, you play that thing pretty well, you caught my attention. You play that thing pretty well, right? And as soon as he started saying that, I looked up, and it was like as soon as I started hearing his voice, I looked up to acknowledge him and looked at his face, and I realized as he's talking that it's the fucking the old man in front of the Burger King, the homeless man, but now he's dressed up all nice. He's got his beard all trimmed really neatly, like a very thin beard, and trimmed all neatly, and his hair combed back. And he's talking. I never heard this guy talk before ever. And he's talking now very intelligent and coherent and not all drunken and slurring and grunting, right? And he's talking to me, and I never stopped playing. Like, I was still playing the guitar kind of. And like, I had this calmness come over me. I wasn't getting, like, I think it was even my grandmother that had visited me the night before. Like, because I had a calmness about me. I didn't get nervous, because the normal me would have already got up and chased him away. Like, what are you doing here, you crazy? Like, where did you get your suit from? Like, where did you, like, I would have already chased him with my guitar. I got into a lot of fights out there. I broke my guitars twice out there. I had to get different new guitars because I broke it over somebody, that tried to mess with me or take it or this or that. Like, I'd rather smash it myself than get it stolen, right? So I had a calmness about me, and I was letting him talk to me. But in my head, I kind of was like, what's going on with this guy? Where did he get money from? Like, where was his suit? Like, where did he get this suit from? And he's talking to me, and what he's saying, for some reason, I had a calmness about me, and for some reason, I knew he wasn't lying. Like, there was a truth in what he was saying, but there was this weird calmness that came over me. Like, because usually I'm very hyper, I'm very defensive, especially out there all by myself. I was a very defensive person, and I would put my guard up with people real quick. If I caught a whiff of weirdness, I would be out of there. So I was letting them talk, and I believed them, and I had this like weird quietness about me on the inside, like this inner silence. And so he's telling, what he's saying basically is, to paraphrase it, because I can't remember word for word, he was telling me, I've seen you around, you can play that thing pretty well, I see you can defend yourself, and I've seen you around, like, I've noticed you, because like, I've gotten to many fights in the park that's right across the street from that Burger King where he always stood in front of. Numerous fights. Some of them I won, some of them I didn't win. But, I got my nose broken once there. I've defended a pregnant lady that got pushed out of a line that they were handing out free food one time. Like, by this big, huge black guy. Like, I got my nose broken by that guy. I one time fought 3 guys, and I didn't lose. These 3 like homeless dudes tried to get, like, I made them chase me, and I kind of took each one of them out one by one. It was pretty crazy. So I had like a reputation down there. Like, people didn't mess with me. Like, I'm only like 5'8", 5'9", that size, but like people loved me down there. I didn't have pretty much any enemies. I was known. I still have friends, lifelong friends. Some of them have died, and but people I met out there that I became friends with, they were lifelong friends. We took care of each other too. And he was telling me, like, I've seen you around. I see, like, you know how to protect yourself, and you can play that thing pretty damn well, right? Like, you got something about you. Like, these are all your own songs too, aren't they? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, if I can basically get you anything you've ever wanted, I have a band. I have a club. All this stuff. He said the name of the club was M-I-L-A. Mila. I don't know what it meant, but I was like, what's Mila? He's like, no, it's M-I-L-A. You could say Mila, but it's M period. He was like talking to me. He was talking to me in a very calm voice, telling me, you'll have anything you've ever wanted. Everybody will know your music. He's like, all you got to do is just say yes. Right? And I had this calmness that came about me. I don't know what it was. Like, I literally think it was my grandmother. And at this time in my life, I was very agile. I have done kickboxing, wrestling, sports, and soccer my whole life. So when I'm sitting in meditation yoga pose with my guitar on my lap, I can literally just bounce up like a cat. I can't really do it like that anymore, but I don't have to like brace my hands on the ground to get up. I could just like pop up. You know what I mean? Right from like from meditation pose, just pop up like a cat real quick and graceful. And this is what I did. When he said, all you got to do is say yes, I stopped playing guitar. I popped up like a cat without bracing my arms on the ground or nothing. I just popped up from my legs folded sitting there. And I was looking him dead in the eyes. And I said, sir, thank you, but no thank you. And I sat back down and I started playing again. And as I'm playing, I could smell the smoke again too. And then I look back up, and we're looking dead in each other's eyes now, and he's looking down on me. And I literally saw his eyes like a red friggin' tornado, like a red storm. His eyes became the brightest red I've ever seen, almost like they were glowing red, literally like glowing red, glowing like the most angry red you've ever seen. His face just got red and his eyes just got red like glow. And I closed my eyes and I just started playing again. And I started singing with my eyes closed. And then like a minute or two later, I opened up my eyes and he was gone. Gone. Right? And I was, and the funny thing is, like a day later at that spot was like this black stain that looked like a tarantula was flattened by Thor's hammer. It was literally like a black stain that looked like a spider right on that spot I was sitting, or where he was standing, right in that area, right? And so fast forward a couple of days, and I'm on the bus, and I'm passing Burger King, and I see him standing out there all homeless bum-like again, right? So I get off the bus, I run up to him, I'm like, listen, MFer, what the hell was wrong with you the other night? You had a suit like what you were talking all this crap. What the hell's wrong with you? Like I was yelling right in his face, like, what the F is wrong with you, mother effer? Like I was screaming at him, right? And he grunted at me, get away, like not even talking, just grunting, right? So I turn around to walk away. And then I turn back around and I look at him again. I go, it was you. Look at you. Your face is still trimmed. Your beard is still trimmed. Look at you. And then when I said that, I could see him touching his beard and his face in confusion. Like he was, when I said that, he like checked his face and he was confused. Confused. And I stomped off. I was like, you're crazy, old man. And I stomped off, right? Now, I also met this girl that called herself Nemi, like Nemesis or Nemi, and my connection to Lake Nemi and everything like that. So I met a girl in the park in Nemi a few days later, and I hung out with her for a couple of days. Her real name was Kayla, and she was like a runaway. You know, I think she was like 19 or 20 years old, but she was like living on the streets for years and a runaway. And she came from the Pacific Northwest down to L.A., and she was a singer. Like I met her because one day I was playing guitar in the park a couple of days after this experience, and she all of a sudden starts singing while I'm playing, and it sounded like Evanescence type stuff, right? And so we were jamming together for a couple of days, and I made more money than I ever did together, like with her right there. And then she talked about how she had a similar encounter with this person. And then one day I'm on the bus right before I leave to come back to New York, actually, after being out there a couple of years. I'm on the bus and I see her talking and eating. As I'm passing Burger King, I look over at that spot and she's sitting there with that old man eating with him. And I never saw her again. I don't know even what happened to her. But I don't know. I literally think I met the devil that night. And maybe the reason why I had never made a lot of money is because I said no. You know, maybe you got to fight that. Like, I think my grandmother's energy, and I had ancestors around me, because in the position that I was in, that's like giving somebody a juicy meal and steak when they've been on a deserted island, right? Seriously. Like I was basically living, I mean, I had a place to sleep, but I was basically out there all alone, one step from homeless, you know, playing music on the street to feed myself. And very young, I was in my early 20s, you know. So you, like, I don't think the guy, whatever it was, even fathomed that I would say no, you know. Because I was a pretty wild kid, you know. I would pretty much try anything once. And, you know, I would have been like, shit, old man, I don't think you're telling the truth anyway. It's literally like from Crossroads with Ralph Macchio and the story of Robert Johnson. Very similar to some stories that you hear about musicians and artists having deals with the devil or something like this. I think people that say yes, they get amnesia of the experience. They don't even realize it took place. And then all of a sudden they blow up out of nowhere. The whole world knows them for several years until they die tragically. And this literally was 20 years ago from now. It happened about 20 years ago. And I remember it like it was yesterday. So that is definitely the night that I met the devil. Let me see what's up in the chat room. Yeah, I first talked about it like many, many years ago, you know. And thank you. Yeah, you know what? I've always have like a magnetism. People get drawn to me and shit. And I also had like like I was insecure as well at the same time about a lot of things. So it's a weird mix. Like, I think just certain people have certain energies about them, you know, and some of them don't even have to be like good looking, you know. Thank God I have good genetics when it comes to that. My mom was pretty, you know, my dad's a good looking man. You know, my brother and sister, nobody's really ugly in my family. No, I have pretty much good looking genes. You know, I grew up with people that made it famous too. Like, you guys have probably heard of Michael Imperioli. Like, we grew up together. Our families grew up together. That's my cousin. That's my, you know, that's family. His mom is my Aunt Claire. I don't talk about it at all on my radio show or on here, really. I mean, this is like one of the first times I'm ever really mentioning it. I don't talk about it because he's famous, and why should I throw out names like that? I actually still have some of his hand-me-down toys and things like that from him and his brother John. But yeah, I think I actually could have made it with my music if I would have stuck with it. I would have crowds around me when I would play in Long Beach. Really quick too. If I would play during the day in front of like the Walmart area where everybody walks or something like that, in a short period of time I can make money. Sometimes I would get chased out of there by cops or whatever. I've gotten arrested because of it. You know, I got arrested because of it just by the cops messing with me and then searching me and me having a knife that I shouldn't have had in my guitar case. You know, and things like that, you know. But it was an interesting time, and I had a lot of weird mystical experiences out there. And I don't think they're actually mystical. I think they're just normal conditions of the planet and life, and that we've been shut off to a lot of it. But yeah, I've been writing different music lately, you know, because mainly for the last few years I stopped playing heavy music. I used to play like pretty much hard rock, right? I've been influenced by everything from Black Sabbath to Faith No More to the Deftones to Depeche Mode, you know, things like that, you know. And then like for many years and until this very day, I'm into drum and bass. I even have for those that know drum and bass, I got this in 1998, I think, or 7. That's the Metalhead's logo of Goldie. That's incorporated in my quarter sleeve there. You know, this goes all the way back until down to the dragonfly. And it goes all the way into my birth scene with the umbilical cord around the baby and the umbilical cord going to headphones. The starseed hybrid baby. That's all original art that I did myself. Me and my friend Max help my friend Max does tattoos, so he helped make it become a tattoo. Well, thank you everybody for joining me. I'm doing giveaways today on my website with tensor tools, so the first 3 people that make a purchase will get a free tensor tool as well. And I will be live with Roger Spur at 1 p.m. Eastern. You guys got the link already. I posted it here on YouTube earlier this morning, so you guys can join that if you want. And spiral out.